What is going on, guys? We are back here for another video today, and this is a different type of video. Today we're looking at 10 fixes that need to be made to Face of the franchise. If you have been looking at my channel, you'll know I've been posting lots of Face of the franchise content. As I'm recording this, I've already posted 9 episodes, and it might even be more than that. But there's so much things to Face of the franchise, and there's just so many problems to it. And today we're going to be looking at 10 big things that Face of the franchise should be fixed either in the middle of Madden 21 or at least by Madden 22. Today we're going to look at that, but if you guys are enjoying this type of content and if you want me to do more of like analyzation in games such as Madden or maybe when the new FIFA comes out or even just other games, drop a like in the video, subscribe, and turn on that bell icon so you guys know when more content comes. So the number one thing is the difficulty of the games. If you guys have watched Face of the franchise or if you have played through it already, you guys already know the difficulty is too easy. The high school games are at rookie. The college games are, I believe, at rookie. And when you get into the NFL, it's also at rookie, and you have to manually change it. And yeah, okay, that's nice. You can manually change it when you get to the NFL. But in high school and college, it's just way too easy to play, and it's sometimes harder to actually lose the game than win. And yes, when you open Madden 21 for the first time, it asks you is your skill level beginner, is it intermediate, is it advanced, or is it expert? But it doesn't ask you the difficulty for Face of the franchise, so you're stuck with playing all these games on rookie. And yes, it's nice to win, but sometimes it's just boring. There's no challenge, and the same result's gonna happen every time, which is really unfortunate. Looking at the number two thing is something else based on difficulty, but it's the difficulty of the NFL draft. One, yes, everyone wants to get to round one, but it's really not that hard to get to round one this year or in Madden 20. All you had to do was win most of your college games and most of your high school games. And I mean, that's basically it. You had to just win some of your games and do decent in the combine, and you get round one. And even when you leave for the NFL early after your junior year, you still have a really high chance, if not an only chance, to get round one. It's just too easy to get to round one, and I really think they should make it harder. So, the average player that plays Madden gets drafted in, round two or three. But it's just, they don't have that many scenarios, which we're going to talk about later in this video, but it's just too easy to get to round one. And yes, it's amazing to be in round one, but they should honestly make the mode harder off of these first two reasons. You can obviously tell it's too easy of a mode. So number three we're going to be looking at is the rating progression. So it's kind of going by this difficulty theme that we've been going, but it's the rating progression of your player. Now obviously you don't know the rating of your player until you get into the NFL. But when you get into the NFL, if you're drafted round one, right, you are an 80 overall. And that's just too high. Think about it. Think about the top rookies of this past year. Joe Burrow, Chase Young, Tua Tagovailoa. I mean, all those players, they are mid-70s, and I think the highest is 77 or 76. And I'm coming here. I'm not even the number one pick. In my mode, I got the 10th overall pick, and I'm an 80 overall. And then what happens is the rating progression's too easy. After my first season, I'm already an 86 overall. After my second season, I'm in the 90s. And I'm going to probably be a 99 overall just 4 years into my career. Now, yes, that's possible. Patrick Mahomes has basically done that, and a bunch of other players before. But it's just too easy in my opinion. I think that the maximum that you should start at, even if you get round one, pick one, should be 77 overall. And then it should be hard to get 99 overall. The only reason that if you get 99 overall in 4 seasons is if in those 4 seasons you win a couple Super Bowls and you win the MVP, which is what Patrick Mahomes has done. He's won the Super Bowl, he's won MVP, and that's how he's done it. But I think that's slightly too easy to get to a high rating. Yes, it's fun to play with your super high rated player, but if you want it to be a career, like an NFL career, it's not going to be that easy. Number 4 on the list is story alternatives. And You're probably wondering what this means. Well, you might already know, but there's just it's the same stuff in the same alternatives in the story will happen. You like lose a game, you win a game, the same cutscene will happen. The same thing will happen. Like for example, if you remember at the end of your one game, the one scouting guy is talking to Tommy, and then you walk by, and then he comes up to you and says, "Hey, I'm looking into your game. It's looking pretty nice." If you lose that game 50-0, he's still gonna talk to you and say that you are like looking like a really high, prolific scouting type person to go into college. And if you win the game 50-0, obviously you'll say that. But I think it's the same exact story stuff, and it's it's like a one-way path almost. Yes, there's like a different paths based on if you win the Super Bowl and lose the Super Bowl, but or not the Super Bowl, but like the college championship when Tommy goes to the hospital, but it's still the same cutscenes, and I definitely think they need to change that. They need to add more. Um, they just need to add more because it's like the same thing over and over again. If you win or if you lose a game, it's really kind of unfortunate. Now we're gonna take a detour here and go explore the combine. So number 5 is going to be the 40-yard dash, and yes, this was a new addition into the game, so it's not going to be perfect, but it's not good at all. Yeah, you press R2 or RT if you're on Xbox. You press square or you press X if you're on Xbox. And then you press triangle or Y depending on what you are on. That's all you do. It's pretty easy. And the funny thing is, you get the same time. And this is the annoying thing. I mean, the time will only change if your player has a different archetype. So if you chose to be a quarterback, your time will be slightly higher if you press all the buttons. So whereas if I chose my guy as a speedy running back, my guy was faster than maybe like a receiver. But the problem is as long as you press all 3 of the buttons, no matter how fast you do, you get the same time. And I think they should change that. They should make it so that, say you press R2, right? Say you press R2 and square at the exact same time, both attempts. But for triangle, on the first attempt, you press it, let's say, half a second after it shows up. Second time, you press it about 1.5 seconds after it shows up. Usually it'll give you the same time, but I think based on how fast your reactions are, they should change the time. And for both attempts, it should not be the same buttons. Maybe the first attempt it can be stick with R2 square and triangle, but then for that second attempt, maybe change it to L1 circle and R3 or the R stick down. They should definitely change it. There's a lot to do in it. Yes, it's the first year, but it's definitely underwhelming. So number 6 on the list is going to be something else related to the combine, but it's going to be the actual combine drills. So all you do as a quarterback, I think you have like 10 passing drills and you throw them in the zone. That's cool, right? As the running back, you legit have 4 drills. You like run, I think, 2 HB angles, and then you run like 2 wheel routes, and each time they're like smaller. But you only run 2. Um, routes and 4 total things to do. I don't know how much it is for a receiver, but they need to add more to that. You should be running 10 to 15 different routes and things like that. Or instead of just going off of that, they should add another combine drill. Like the 40-yard dash and then, you running routes or you throwing the ball to people. That's not the only part of the combine. There's also, maybe they can add a vertical jump and make it maybe similar to the 40-yard dash, except kind of change it. So, like how I was talking about changing the 40-yard dash. But I definitely think the combine is underwhelming because I got through the whole entire combine, if you watch my video on it, in like 2 minutes. That is terrible because the combine is a big event. So, number 6 is a big one, the NFL draft, okay? This is a big one. We're already talking about how it's too easy to get to round 1. And yes, you can choose to be drafted to a certain team, or you can let fate decide. Well, I guess the definition of fate is the Chicago Bears. I've been drafted to the Chicago Bears. I've been drafted to the Chicago Bears. Everyone gets drafted to the Chicago Bears. Like, this is even worse than Madden 20. And in Madden 20, it wasn't good because everyone was getting drafted to either like the Raiders, the Dolphins, or the Broncos. But you're getting drafted to the Bears every time. It doesn't matter if you're a running back. It doesn't matter if you're a receiver. It doesn't matter if you're a quarterback. It doesn't matter if you get selected in round 1 or if you purposely fail like RBT did and got selected in round 7. It's the Bears every time. That is terrible. Maybe, yes, it might be hard to code the game to allow for yourself to get to all 32 NFL teams, but make it so that there's like 10 different teams you can go to, because it's just absolutely terrible. Please, EA, fix it. So now, and moving on to number 8 on the list. Number 8 is going to be the full on-field control. Now, when you get to the NFL, you have access to the league settings, you have access to the team settings. But before that, you don't have access to that. So you don't actually play you play full on field control. And yeah, some people might like that, but if you're say a running back or you're a receiver, you only want to play as your guy. That's the point of being a running back and a receiver. But in college and stuff like that, or in high school, you play as the whole team, which I think is that's terrible. You should be able to change that. You can change that in the NFL, but not in college or high school. Really, this is going off the point of when you enter Face of the Franchise, you should have the option of changing the difficulty immediately, changing the full on field control, and yeah, just a bunch of settings that you should be able to change. But instead, it just goes straight into the story and there's like nothing you can change. Come on, EA. So, number 9 on the list is going to be the number of college games. Now, last year, you played how many college games in Madden 20? I can't exactly remember, but I think you played like one season, and you just played the semifinal and then the final 2 games. This year, they added the high school, which I think at the high school you can play up to 5 games, is it? Or 6 games? Which is actually a good amount. I really do like that. You're able to play a lot of different high schools. But, like, unfortunately, in college, the thing is that you don't play that many games. In fact, you might even play less college games than you play in high school. And yes, okay, I mean, when you get to college, it immediately skips to your junior year because you're benched for your first 2 years, which maybe might be understandable. But all you play for your junior and senior year, I think senior year you can play a maximum of 2 games, and then I believe the junior year you can play a maximum of 2.5 games, because the half game is after Tommy comes out of his injury. They should add more. In both of those years combined, I think they can maybe keep it so that you're benched for your freshman and sophomore year in college. But I think for the junior and the senior year, I definitely do think that they should give you maybe 5 or 6 games. More games, more time. Because, I mean, the whole overall story of this, like, to be honest, the whole story from when you first are talking to Claudia on your text messages to when you get drafted by an NFL team, like, if you just sit here and play straight without skipping any cutscenes, if you watch every single cutscene, it'll take only 5 hours, if that, like 4 hours, the whole story. They should add more to that, way more to that. And now the 10th final thing on the list is that there are barely any games in this so-called new franchise mode. See, when you get to the NFL, if you guys have, or if you've seen people do it, there's like this new franchise mode with press conferences, and you like take these questions before games, and they have all like these kind of storylines, right? Because everyone was complaining how it just goes to the normal franchise after you get drafted in Madden 20. So they changed it in Madden 21. Now you do have the option to go back to Classic Franchise, but if you go back to Classic Franchise, you don't get these press conferences, you don't get these trash talk things and all that. If you stick with the normal franchise, you get these press conferences, you get these questions, you get like these decisions that, change your type of player, change morale, but you play barely any games. If you've been watching my series, my first season in the NFL, we played 2 regular season games, right? One against the Lions and one against the Packers. And then the divisional game, we played again against the Packers. In season number 2, I only played against the Packers. And guess what? I'm in the middle of recording season number 3, and I've only played against the Packers. You play the same teams, you play 2 games a season, it's terrible. Okay, yes, it makes sense. You can get through your career fast, but it's only the Packers, seriously. And the funny thing is, I'm a Packers fan, so the fact they got drafted to the Bears makes me super mad. But yes, everyone's going to get drafted to the Bears, so the Packers are literally everywhere. I don't know why, it's just how it is. they should make it so that you should play about 7-8 games a season. Maybe not the whole time, because people want to get through the series and not take 7-8 episodes to get through the whole season. But they should make it so that you play multiple games. But yeah, that's the whole list. Going down the list, change the difficulty of the high school and the college games. Change the difficulty of getting a first round selection. Change the difficulty of being able to get your guy to 99 overall, because it's way too easy. Give us more story alternatives, please. Make the 40-yard dash just better. Expand on the whole combine drills. Make it so that we don't only get drafted to the Bears, because fate does not equal Bears. Okay? EA, fate does not equal Bears. It's random. But I guess not, because I guess the hat only had the bear paper in it. So you get the Bears every single time. Please, then, change the full on-field control, and change the number of college games you play, and change the amount of games that you play in the new franchise mode. But that is going to be it. I hope you guys enjoyed. It's not like this Face to the Franchise is completely trash, but there is so much to fix. But then again, it's EA. What do you expect? But guys, that is going to be it. I do hope you guys enjoyed. If you do want more of this type of content analyzing games, then put it down in the comments or leave a like on the video and subscribe if you want more content. I am bringing Madden content to you right now, mostly Face of the Franchise, but sometimes I'm bringing you the Yard or other content. But guys, that's going to be it. Subscribe if you like the content, like the video if you liked it, because that is what it's for. And I'll see you guys on that next video. Bye-bye.